the most amazing Nick.
Hi, my name is Nicholas, and I'm using Isinga for almost everything because it is great. And well, thanks.
Next up, Stefan.
Hi, I'm Stefan. I'm responsible. Sorry. My name is Stefan. I'm the responsible for the monitoring tools in our company with 3 data centers across Germany, and I use Isinga for maybe 10 years. So glad to be here.
And last but not least, our most famous Grafana module developer, Carsten.
Hi, I'm Carsten, and as Brian already said, I developed the Grafana module.
Okay, I think everyone introduced themselves now. Our stream looks healthy and fine. Yeah, I'm really glad you all made it here. And I would directly hand over to Ravi, who's going to show us a bit about the recent release, the 1.3.0 of our Isinga Jira integration. He's going to give us a little demo and yeah, show us the new features with the release.
Yeah, thank you, Foy. Let me share my screen before I start my presentation. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And as you all know, we released Isinga Web Jira integration a couple of weeks ago. And there were some minor issues which were fixed in this release. And also a few features have been added in this release. And the first thing which I would like to mention is the last state change of an object is now added to the issue description so that we would also know when the problem last occurred. And the other two major features which have been added to Isinga Web Jira integration are you can now configure Jira settings in a web GUI and also can add custom fields to your customized workflows in web GUI. So to give a small demonstration, I already configured my Jira settings here, and here I would like to actually highlight two things. One is that now you can choose the deployment type of Jira software, whether you have deployed in server or cloud in the Jira settings. In case the Jira software is deployed in server, the server version will be automatically read from the server info, and the appropriate create issue meta will be used to create issues in Jira software. Whereas in for cloud, there is a toggle button which has been added so that we can manually choose whether to use the legacy create issue meta or the latest create issue meta. But currently the cloud uses the legacy issue meta, and hence this has been automatically enabled. And one other thing is, thanks to the contribution of delusing, we can now the Isinga key and Isinga status fields have been configurable. So that means we can use some other names for the custom fields in Jira software for Isinga key and Isinga status. I have already configured two custom fields in Jira software with names object key and object status, and associated them with Isinga key and Isinga status here. So that's about configuration. And coming to the customized workflows, we can add the template. Earlier we used to add templates, and it's required fields in templates ini file in the module directory. But now we can just add that in WebGUI. We need to just add a template. Say my workflow 2 and its required fields. I've already configured few fields. Let me choose PostScript here. And one more thing I need to mention here is that we can also associate async object properties to the custom fields in Jira, like host group, service group, or custom variable. Let me choose host group here. And for custom variable, let me add one more custom field. Say department. Okay. So let me just use the problem create issue and problem issue screens for now. Yep. So let me add one more custom field, department, custom variable. Yep. So once this template has been created, you can just use this template uh, as a template parameter in send notification command, or here just to demonstrate, I'll just manually create an issue in the web GUI. This case TSM, type problem, and my workflow 2. So as soon as I choose my workflow 2 template, it also shows the associated fields under the template. Just to create issue. So once I create an issue, we can just check it in Jira software. So this was the issue created. And as you can see, we can now see the host group and department of the object of the service, and also the last state change, as I mentioned earlier, of the object, which also tells us when the problem was last occurred. And yes, that's about it. And right now, the custom fields which can be chosen in custom fields which can be chosen in WebGUI should be of type array, string, date, time, or number. There are other custom fields like multiple choices and select fields that are not that cannot be added in WebGUI, but it can still be added in templates.ini file. This enhancement will be further added into Jira web integration in future work. Yeah, and that was it about the current Jira release. And I'll hand it over to Foy again.
Yeah, thank you. During your little live demo, we had a question come in from Carsten. Do you want to ask a question yourself, or should I read it out?
What was the question? One second.
Okay, I'm gonna read it out. If Isinga Web is on a different host than the Isinga masters, there is now an option to set the notification endpoint, or do we still need to install Isinga Web on the master just for the gyro module to open gyro tickets?
Blurry, would you like to answer this?
So basically, in that area, we did not make any changes. So this behavior is similar to the ones it was before. I hope that answers the question. By the way, is anyone from here using Gyro in production?
Yes, we are, but I hadn't had the chance to integrate it yet because we just switched to Jira.
What was the reason for the switch?
Yeah, the old one was a tool I think we misused a little bit, and it was a legacy tool that wasn't web-based also, and the concurrent license pool also forced us to close it after a period of inactivity and shenanigans like that.
All right. If no one else has any more questions about the new release for the gyro module, I would hand it over to Sukhvinder, who's gonna give us a quick rundown of the Isinga Cube release, also 1.3.0.
Yeah, hi, thank you. I will share my screen. So, can you see the screen, please?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have released the Cube module, the latest version a few weeks ago, and there are some changes and some new features based on Isinga DB web module. So the Isinga DB web module is required for these features to work. First of all, we have before we just had host and service tabs, and in service tabs we could just see the service custom variables, and host tab just the host custom variables. But now it's possible to see the service and host custom variables in the service tab, and so you can add the service custom variable and then also the host. So it is possible now. So the switch here, changing the order of the dimension, is same as before. Let me add some width. There, just a second. So yeah, here you can see now some cubes are green, so the hosts are okay, in okay state, and some are red, so in the warning and critical state. So if we click on the problem only control, which is new, so this is only to focus for the in the critical state host, then all the okay state cubes are disabled, and you can only see and focus on the critical state hosts or services, and we have a new search bar here, which is the same as in the Isinga DB module. So you can search here and filter your cubes. So this all is, and you can extend, of course, your filter. Yeah, you can extend it. And there is also a filter editor. So here, this is the same as the search bar, but you can uh, apply the filter there also. And we have a new sort control where you can sort the cubes by value. The value is the variable name. So now it is sorting by value in the ascending order, and you can change the order, then it's in the descending order, and you can sort by severity. So uh, let me, so now you can see uh, first we see all the critical cubes and then the OK cubes, and you can change the order, and then we will see first the OK cubes and then the critical cubes. And yeah, this is all new in the cube module. And again, this features required the IsingaDB web module. So these are only working if you have the IsingaDB web module. Otherwise, you will just see the old cube, just like this cube module. Yeah, thank you. That's all about the new release. Do you have any questions? Okay, no. So I hand over to Fai again.
All right, yeah. If there are no other questions from the call, there are also no questions on YouTube, so thank you very much for presenting. And if nothing else comes up, I would hand over. Oh, Sukwinder also shared the blog post about the new release. If you want to read more about it, I'll also link it in the description on YouTube. And if there are no other things coming up, I would directly hand over to Blarum, who is going to have a topic that's probably going to invite some more questions about what's currently going on in Isinga and what the future plans are for the project.
Thank you. So I do not have any presentation, and I will also not share my screen with you. I'm hoping to have um, just a conversation about what we are currently doing. So during the past year, we've been focused on releasing IsingaDB, of course, and migrating also the modules to IsingaDB. During the last months, we've been working on a couple of modules to get them updated, to move them to IsingaDB, also to provide packages for modules as well. So you probably gonna notice on your servers that our repositories now also have packages for Cube and also for Jira. In the meantime, also we had built packages for Isinga Director, and that's one thing we will continue to do. So the goal is to have ready-to-use packages for basically all the official modules that we build, in order to make it easier for users to get the software and also to get the updates, and also get the new features. So I really like that we're moving forward there. We've had a couple of module releases like the Cube and the Jira most recently, and during the next 1 or 2 weeks we are going to have another release for the certificate monitoring module, with a few new additions, which will also come with packages as well, of course, because that's the main goal for us now, according or modules at least. There are a few other things that we started working on, and for this year, our focus will mainly be on enhancing the way how Isinga handles notifications in general. So as we know right now, if you want to receive notifications, of course, you have to configure it in your Isinga 2. You have to add the users and everything in the rules. And our goal this year is to make it more convenient for users to manage those notifications. And therefore, we are moving the complete notification management into the Isinga web interface, where you can basically add and change the rules about what you want to be monitored. We started with that I think, somewhat last year in October, November, to build a concept about what we think, how it should look like, doing research, how others do that. Of course, there are plenty of platforms out there like PagerDuty, Opsgenie, and ServiceNow, and whatnot. But our idea is not to copy PagerDuty or Opsgenie. It's more like to bring the convenience of those tools to Isinga in a way that it fits to Isinga. So in the first hand, one important pillar of that development is to make sure that it's easy to understand and convenient to use. Therefore, we are moving it to the web interface. But another goal is also to give users the possibility in the long term to get notifications from Isinga modules directly without going through the Isinga core. That's something that most likely will not be in the first version, but the plan or the vision for notification management in Isinga is that you have multiple sources that can deliver notifications, like Isinga 2, which is the standard source right now. But it could also be that the business process module that already has the data about a state of something could provide that data directly as a notification through our notification module. Or you could also receive notifications from the director if a deployment failed, for example, or if you have merge requests in director branches. So this will open plenty of possibilities for us to improve Isinga in a way where users can get notified about something that is happening in their monitoring without having them to look into Isinga Web, for example. First of all, of course, the first version will be focused on Isinga 2 because we are aiming to cover what we can do already. So there should no features be lost in the way of creating the notification module. So that's the first goal, which will take some time. But in the long term, the idea is to have a centralized notification component that can receive and handle notifications not only from Isinga 2, but also from different modules, and also perhaps in the very far future from general resources as well. So why shouldn't it receive or expect events from a third-party tool, for example? So that's just an idea right now, but we would be open to that as well. And as I can see, Carsten has a question about if it will be high available aware. So the short answer, yes. A long answer, not in the first version. So we just started writing code, I think, a month ago. So we just had a few meetings about it, what the current state is. And the idea is to have a first proof of concept at the Isinga camp in Berlin, which will be in May 17th. So we are already planning a talk from the lead developers who are going to demonstrate how it's going to look like and the current state of it. It won't be a final version, but still we aim to show what our idea of notification management with Isinga is. And as far as I can tell from now, it looks pretty positive that we will be able to demonstrate a couple of things until then. But yes, finally, at some point, it must be aware for high available setups as well, because that's one important feature that comes with the standard notifications in the Isinga core as well. So we need to make sure that we cover that, of course, that no notifications get lost. One more thing that is different from the current notification implementation is that we are planning to have support for different channels. So that's currently done with notification commands. But from the convenience point of view, we believe that it would be better or easier for users if they could just pick a notification channel like by default email, but also things that others use like Slack or Microsoft Teams or ServiceNow or whatever they use, what is popular, or Jira ticketing system or whatever, to have it built by us as a default, as an official solution coming from Isinga with official support for those channels as well. So you can choose how you want to get notified. So basically, you are able to choose the channels that you want to the sources that you want to receive, define contacts and duties for on-call, for example, define rules, how you want to, or at what states you want to be notified, and also define the channel, how you want to receive those notifications. I wish I would have like a fancy web interface right now that I could share with you, but that's currently not possible, unfortunately, because we just started building it. But you will see it at the Isinga camp latest, how it looks like. So that's something that we will be doing across the next months. I'm pretty sure that it will take some time, but we already started, and that's our priority one project right now. And another thing, which is like a little bit of a side project.
Before you head over into the next topic, I think we should probably address some
yeah.
questions.
I just saw there are questions incoming. Will it be a module or part of Isinga Web Core? It will be a module, and it will come with a separate daemon, so it can be decoupled from the Isinga Web. So it has a web frontend as a module and a daemon for receiving the alerts and handling the rules, and also handling the channels. So you can decouple it. That's an architecture that we already know from IsingaDB and from other modules as well. So yeah, basically it's a module with a daemon. It will be a Golang daemon, so it won't be written in PHP. So we started building these things with IsingaDB in Golang, and that's also what we're going to continue with a future notification management. And from the experience we gained with IsingaDB writing those daemons in Go, we gladly now also have the experience how to build features like high availability. So that's something we don't have to reinvent from the scratch, because we kind of already know how to do it, because we do it with IsingaDB and it's pretty solid. It's just a matter of at what time we build that part of the software into the module. It's not a question if it's going to be in there, but just a question of in which release it will be.
Okay, I would also have a question, because notifications are something that is relevant for everyone. If someone from the call here would like to share how they handle notifications currently and what they would like to see or see as most important channel to receive notifications on. If someone wants to share how they handle it currently, would love to hear about it.
Well, we use the most main channel is email, with a lot of different time frames and rules to provide the mail in the correct way to the correct person. So I think for 3 or 4 states like platinum, gold, silver, and bronze, we use about 20-25 rules to get the mail to the correct person. So I think it would be a real good improvement to have a manager like you.
What do you use as a decision who receives what?
It's a custom field in an SLA contract we have with our customers. And in these custom fields on hosts and services, we decide which service or which host can send a notification at night time to some guys overnight.
Gotcha.
The second channel is Teams, just for archiving those night messages, that we can see on the next day what was over the night, in a really nice way.
So you send out the notifications parallelly, both on email and on Teams. All right.
Yeah, we also use mostly email as standard notification, and we have a variable on the host called Teams. And the services have the same variable, and it overrides the one of the host if it's set. If not, all the services will send to the same team as the host does. And then we also have a criticality flag, and the highest criticality will also send SMS to the PKIT phone. And I have a special host called PKIT where I only attach modeled business processes, and those will generate actual calls to the PKIT phone. And also for applications, I started to use Teams. So I have a team room for the application, and everybody who's interested can join the team room and will get the notifications, like, for example, GitHub. So if there is a down or a problem or something with GitHub and you subscribed because you're a user of this application, you will get notified by Teams.
Yeah, at some point, so at least from my feeling, Microsoft Teams somehow replaced Slack in many organizations.
Yeah, I think it's a nice way because this way you can self-subscribe. The other way, I need to handle the special crafted stuff for the PKIT, the on-call, and the Teams I import from Active Directory actually.
Yeah.
And I use the same group for the roles in Ijingo Web 2, and I fill the notification groups with a quite elaborate script that goes recursively through all the subgroups and resolves all of that. I think I even documented it in the community forums. I'm not sure.
Does anyone use HTML emails, or is it all plain text?
It's quite nice HTML email.
Okay, Carsten also shared his setup that he usually uses email and SMS as a backup, basically if the network is down and the mails can't be sent. So no Teams in this case. Just because I'm curious, we have like this hand feature in the call. Who of you uses Teams for notifications? So I've heard it from like both Dominic and Stefan. Okay. Interesting, thank you. I also don't see any other questions from the chat, so if you don't want to share anything else, I think we can continue with the next topic.
It's me again, I guess. So as mentioned, the notification thing is what drives us mainly. This is our major project right now with let me think, like more than 50% of our developers are working on that right now. But we still have a side project, at least I call it like that, to remove the pressure out of it. we are currently looking into how we can effectively monitor Kubernetes with Isinga. This is a long-standing topic, and it seems like Kubernetes is not going to leave in the next few years. So we have to think about it. We have to do something about it because it has to be monitored with Isinga at some point. And we recently started researching and trying some things out, and I can share the ideas what we have right now. I don't think any of them are totally final, but I guess what we are going to do is, I don't know the right thing how to call it in Kubernetes. Some call it operator, some call it controller. I think there's no right term for it, but it will be like something small running in the Kubernetes environment that catches all the events that are happening within Kubernetes. Events like pod created, namespace created, replica created or removed. So basically what we already know what we can do is we can learn from the Kubernetes API everything about what is happening within a Kubernetes cluster. That can be done by subscribing to the API, and that's super nice because you can use that data and transform it into something that we can visualize in the Isinga web interface. And for the first step, this would be great for Isinga users because you could see more or less in real time what is running in the cluster, what is the utilization of the resources of each Kubernetes component, object, whatever. And the idea from us is to have this constant synchronization of the Kubernetes status of everything what is running in it and bring it into a schema that we can use to visualize it in the Isinga web interface. So from the Isinga web perspective, it's going to be a module like vSphere, for example, that collects data on its own without using the Isinga core, without having to use the schema with hosts and services and things like that. So we are building something separately from that, like we did with the vSphere module. But the major difference between Kubernetes and vSphere, from our perspective, is that we don't want to poll Kubernetes for the current state. We would rather push the information from within Kubernetes into our schema and have it there in real time. That's something we cannot do with vSphere or other technologies. But with Kubernetes, this seems to work very fine. So it's some work to do to build the schema and build the forwarder operator, however, whatever it's going to be called. But in the end, the idea is that you can see everything in the first step, of course, see everything that is running in the cluster in your Isinga web interface. And now if we combine those two projects that we have right now just started recently, if we have on the one side the notification management that will be able to handle notifications from separate modules without going through the core, and on the other hand we have the Kubernetes thing that can synchronize the state of your Kubernetes into Isinga. If you combine those two things, you will have a full monitoring of your Kubernetes because the Kubernetes module can send the critical events directly through the notification management to your channels. So that's the idea. And like with the notification management, we also aim to have a proof of concept demonstratable at the Isinga camp in Berlin. And I'm pretty excited for this year's Isinga camp because there are two super important projects that we just started, and I'm excited to see the reactions on what we've built until May, and also to get some feedback about what we maybe didn't think of. So from the perspective of time, it's a very good time for us to have to share this in May, because we will have some progress, but it will not be final yet. So everyone gets the chance to still give their ideas and their opinion to what we are building right now.
I think this is also a good way to hand over to you. Like, yeah, what do you think of the Kubernetes monitoring? Or generally, first, do you use Kubernetes already? I would again like to ask for hands if someone wants to share the story. Stefan, do you want to?
Actually, we use Kubernetes in a very low part, but I think monitoring of those small clusters is necessary as well. Now we use the node exporters for Prometheus and the Isinga agent for monitoring local storage and CPU. Um, but I think it would be great to have all in one as a little box. So I'm really looking forward to the Isinga camp in May to see more about it.
So what would be the most important focus for that package that you see for your environment?
I think for now it's in a very small way, but I believe in the next 1, 2, 3 years, Kubernetes will be the most driven part to share application with our users. So I think it's a very growing market, and as soon as we have a good monitoring and the application will be more on Kubernetes, I think it's really necessary to have a good tool um, to see what's in the Kubernetes cluster.
Do you build the clusters by yourself?
For now,
Or
yes.
do you use some OpenShift or whatever around it?
For now, we use own built Kubernetes clusters and some AKS. So I think it's when we have a deployment for Kubernetes certified products. So I think it would be great to use the Azure Kubernetes services as well as own build or OpenShift or any other distribution.
Okay, thank you. Does someone else want to share how they're using Kubernetes in their environment or why they're not using it? All right, in that case, if you have any other questions, not necessarily relating to what we shared with you from our developers or from Blarum, now would be a great time to ask what's on your mind or give us just some general feedback about the directions that we're going in. Okay, we've got a question from Carsten. Are there any news about the release of Isinga 2.14?
So one news is that we stripped the milestone down and removed a couple of pull requests from it to make it smaller. But in general, I think that 2.14 will include many improvements for config reload. I think that's the major topic for that release. So there's no date that I could tell you right now, but it won't take forever.
Dominic, yeah.
Yeah, I looking forward to get some bugs resolved in the business process module. I have some badges that show up where it's not really clear where they come from. And also I hope to get new logical operators like the XOR and stuff like that. That would be
I think
nice.
the
And
XOR, I think the XOR is even already
I think
in the
it's
master branch, right?
exactly. And
Yeah.
yeah, but I suspect sooner or later it needs to be forked so that it uses a different configuration backend because it's quite limiting, I guess.
Yeah, the thing with the different configuration backend is that we even tried in the past to write the configuration to a database, and in the end, it turned out that it has uh, worse performance than config files. In fact,
I don't think it's the way how the config is written. It's the language, the syntax is very limiting because you cannot just invent new operators because there's a limit on which chars you can use.
yeah. So
And and then
I
there
know
is
that
also
some things.
the pull request from the Linux fabric for the full screen overview that we use. That would be nice to have upstreamed. And X509, the certificate checking, I really hope that sooner or later there is a nice possibility to upload not web exposed certificates like code signing certificates and stuff like that into the
Okay.
database. That would be nice.
Okay. So where do I start? So for the business process module, I know that some of the issues you mentioned are already merged. There's no definitive release candidate or release date yet, but it's on the table, kind of. It's basically a matter of time. And for the certificate monitoring, I know that we are going to release another version during the next 1 or 2 weeks. But to be honest, I don't know if what you described will be part of it. As far as I know, there's no possibility right now to upload
Yeah, I
that
think it didn't
kind
make
of
it into this
certificates.
milestone.
Yeah.
But I mean, there would be a possibility to inject it into the database, but I was thinking I prefer to go the official route, have a issue, and or I contributed to existing issues to get it in the upstream and don't have to fiddle with my own scripts injecting stuff into the database directly.
I mean, I might as well ask if is there a release date for the Isinger director?
No,
I assume you're
right now,
mostly
not.
working on
No.
the
I
notification
know. I know what you're working on, but I don't have a date for you. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
No worries.
Okay, Nick also raised his hand. Do you want to ask a question too?
Yes, I have an issue with with a single director with the multi-edit function with services that have the same name but are on different hosts. And
the modify action.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
created the pull request, and then Thomas Gave said, "Okay, we have to do it differently." And I tried, and I closed it. And I think because I closed the first pull request, it got forgotten. Like it's the
I
second
don't
pull
think it
request
got
actually works.
forgotten. I know that we have a fix already merged for a modify link bug for services. Now, I'm not 100% sure if it's the same issue what you're describing, but it sounds 99% like that fix that we already have merged.
My issue is pardon, sorry. 2497. and it's still open.
What's the latest version you've tested, Matt?
10.2.2, I think. Yeah, still broken in 1.10.2.
Yeah, there's no release yet for that fix. So I am very sure that it's already fixed but not released yet.
Okay.
I would first read out the question from Carsten because he was first. He asked, because you talked about daemons, when will there be a Go version of vSphere and Director daemon? Is there something coming?
Sorry, can you repeat? Go daemons, when will be a Go version of vSphere DB? That's not planned, to be honest. So there's, for us, not much to gain in rewriting those daemons because they are working pretty fine. And using our limited time to rewrite that, I would rather use our time on building those things I just mentioned. But yes, both are not high available aware. That's true.
Okay, I would like to give the last word to Dominic. We're almost at half past, but go ahead.
Yeah, the question before the last one was reminding me of a thing that is bugging me in the director. You can clone services, but you can only choose hosts as targets. It would be really nice if you could choose service sets so that you can move single services into service sets. Because we try to move the quick and dirty stuff into the proper thing that is sets, because then you can export them with baskets and move them easily between testing and production and stuff like that.
You mean you okay. So as a clone target,
Yeah,
not a host, but a service set. Okay,
exactly.
gotcha.
Maybe I'm
Probably
doing it wrong. Maybe there is an easy way,
no.
but
There's no built-in way to do it. No, you would have to recreate the service as a service set service.
yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. No, so there's no other way. You've not been doing anything wrong. No, currently we don't have that. I don't even think we even thought about that, to be honest.
Maybe then I
But
should open
yeah,
a request for that one.
yeah, totally.
All right, yeah, I've been taking some notes during the call for the issues that you've talked about, and I'm gonna directly speak to the people responsible for the modules you mentioned. Yeah, if no one else has a question that's burning on their tongue right now, I would say that we're gonna slowly shut down the call. I want to thank you all for being here, and if there are any other things that you want to talk about, you can open an issue on the project, you can open a topic on the community forum, and we can continue chatting there. And yeah, apart from that, we're probably maybe gonna see each other again in the next call in another 3 to 4 months. So yeah, thank you for being
Thank
here.
you, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you,
Hope to
everyone.
see you
Bye.
soon.
Thanks for hosting. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.